Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing with you guys as well as giving you some of my initial thoughts and feelings on the just announced Haslab 2021 Transformers Victory Star Saber or Victory Saber, depending on what configuration you wish to come up with. Now, we've known this guy's been in the pipeline for quite some time now. Hasbro did rumour him, I believe it was roughly a month ago, but as to what this package would actually include, up until this point, has remained a mystery, and I definitely think that it's safe to say that we are getting so much more than we could have expected, especially up front. Some of the components as well as some of the characters that literally come up front for the mere target of 11,000 are all really bonuses that I would expect to see in like tier 1, 2 or 3, but nope, we are getting a massive package all up front, which was definitely something which surprised me, which I'm actually really super excited for. And Star Saber as well as Victory Saber looks fantastic. There are a few issues that I have with a few other bits, but of course we'll discuss that in just a second. In order for the campaign to actually go into production, it does indeed need 11,000 backers, which I believe is a little more when in comparison to what we got with Unicron. I believe that was 8,000, but of course we're dealing with a figure which is significantly cheaper. Unicron was about 570, whereas here with Victory Saber he's going to retail for 180, which when the price point was actually unveiled, I really began to think that maybe Hasbro could have been better off actually just releasing this as a mass-produced figure, perhaps in the Commander class, and then maybe they could scatter some of the other characters in the Deluxe or Voyager assortment, but they have decided to go the Haslab route. I personally believe it's because Victory Saber is a little more niche when in comparison to some of the other Commander class figures that we've seen yet, and maybe they were a little skeptical on how he would do sales-wise, so they have decided to go the Haslab route, which is of course a crowdfunding platform, to really see whether or not the demand from fans is truly there. Now, in the actual package itself, straight up front, we're going to be receiving one Brainmaster, one Autobot Saber, one V-Starjet, one Victory Leo, as well as one Sword of Justice. And then of course, if you proceed to unlock various different tiers, I do believe they announced the first tier was this huge blaster. Then of course, as time goes on, you will get more and more perks. But let's get straight into it and discuss firstly the Brainmaster. Now, this is a lot smaller when in comparison to the Headmasters or Titan Masters that we've seen previously, which really surprised me. This guy really is tiny, but instead of actually forming the head, he merely just forms the main faceplate and will actually connect into the torso rather than actually becoming a part of the head itself. So that was quite a cool feature in my opinion. We then saw some renders of Autobot Saber. Now, I will be completely honest and say that as a whole, I was really let down with the amount of hollow spacing actually seen on these figures, and I saw in the stream that was also a critique that many other fans and collectors alike did have. You are paying a premium. This is a Haslab exclusive item. We really shouldn't be getting so many hollow spaces, and one of the glaring issues that I have with this particular figure is the forearms. They look so bad. You can see how the hands are literally just going to flip out. There's no fold out panel in order to conceal that gap, and I really believe there should be, especially for paying a premium on this release. Hollow spaces is something that we should not be seeing. You can even see some hollow spacing on the actual blaster itself, which isn't the best. Although we didn't get a great look at this character, I'm almost certain that there are indeed some other hollow spaces on him, which is rather unfortunate. But in regards to an actual robot mode, I think he looks pretty decent. The proportions all appear to be pretty spot on. There's a little bit of back kibble, but honestly it's nothing to write home about, and considering that he will in fact be utilised for the combined form, I guess compromises and sacrifices had to be made. We've also got an image here of him in jet mode. I think this looks really cool. The actual Brainmaster will in fact be able to fit into the cockpit, which is super cool. One thing which I thought was a little poor on Hasbro's part was that they didn't show any CG renders of this actually in colour. Correct me if I'm wrong, but when we got images of Unicron, he was a complete colorized item, so it really would have been good to have seen roughly what the colour deco would be like on these figures, and then of course it would give you a better appreciation of the robot mode as well as alt modes. But as it stands, we merely just have grey models, which definitely isn't the best way to go marketing wise in my personal opinion, but at least we do get some sort of look of how the characters will turn out. Then we got an actual image of Autobot Star Saber himself. Now honestly, I was just expecting to get this guy, so the fact that we've got all of the other bonus accessories as well as other characters really honestly is super cool. But Autobot Star Saber himself, I think he looks fantastic. A really cool looking figure, especially that head design. I think it looks so awesome. They also showcased his sword, which I also thought looked really cool. As a robot mode, this is by far the best thing out of the set in my opinion, at least standalone. I think he looks so well done. They also showed an image here of the jet mode, and this also looks really cool. They did show that he does have all of the necessary articulation that you would expect from this guy, so we do in fact get butterfly joints in the shoulders, allowing him to pull off some of those super dynamic poses that we see in the series with the sword, which is really cool to see. And as mentioned beforehand, I just think the robot mode looks really killer on this guy. And then there's something which took me by surprise, which I actually expected to be maybe a tier unlock, is that straight up we are in fact going to be seeing Victory Leo. Now this is just so awesome. They showcased him in both robot mode as well as alt mode. I think the robot mode looks so well done, especially where that head is concerned. Now once again, you can see some hollow spacing. Sadly, you can see the fists of the robot mode right on the front legs, which is just something that I'm super surprised that none of the designers noticed and said we cannot produce this as a Haslab item. I'm really hoping that that is an area which changes when this guy hopefully hits production, you can also see some hollow spacing on the actual foot section of the alt mode, which once again isn't the best, but I think the wings all look pretty cool. He comes with these huge blasters which attach to the top, which also look awesome, albeit hollow, which once again isn't the best to see, but in regards to proportions and detail, I think they've done a pretty stellar job. And then of course we take a look at this guy here in robot mode. He's a very big chunky character, I would say in between what we would expect from a very large Voyager or a small leader class, especially when they brought out some size comparisons with the Deluxe Hound. But this guy looks really cool in bot mode. Once again, you can see some hollow spacing underneath the arm as well as the thigh region, which I saw many collectors and fans complain about in the comments, and you're all absolutely right to do so. This is something that really was a glaring issue to me. And with Haslab Unicron, we actually didn't get really any hollow spaces on that guy at all, besides the planetary rings, but of course they had to have that in order to give a little bit of flexibility, as if they were rigid, they'd more than likely snap if you were to accidentally bump into them. But really, there's no excuse here for why we've got hollow spaces. The likes of Commander Class Jetfire, as well as some of the other Commander figures that we've seen in the line, the likes of Rodimus Prime, he barely has no hollow spaces, so we really shouldn't be seeing that here with this particular figure. But at the end of the day, I guess it is what it is. And then of course, the big reveal is that you will in fact be able to take all of them, combine them into a really awesome looking Victory Saber. Now this of course is why they're going the Haslab route, as he's gonna be enormous, and in robot mode he looks epic. So well done, really awesome visuals here. You can see how we've got enhancements made to the legs, the body is just so much thicker. We've now got the wing attachment, which looks super cool. The head sculpt once again is a smash hit, it just looks so cool. They also teased some blast effects. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but these are the same blast effects that we've seen from Siege Jetfire, so once again would have been nice if we could have got some unique sculpts, especially considering this is a Haslab figure. They really shouldn't be borrowing anything from the regular mainline releases, but that's just my personal opinion. Maybe I'm being too nitpicky. And then they also showcased the jet mode with all of the components fully attached, and once again this looks so awesome. This guy is going to be one of the most heavily armored characters in the entire Generations lineup. He really does look wicked here. You can see the cannons, we've got all of these different wings protruding out the sides. It really does look like a fantastic piece. So overall, I think it's definitely a pretty cool figure. Do I think they could have done it better? Definitely. I really think the hollow spacing is something that needs to be completely scrapped for this figure. He retails for $180, and for that price point, honestly, there really shouldn't be any hollow spacing at all. And to be honest with you, when actually looking at this set as a whole, I do think that maybe they would have been better just individually releasing them at mass retail. Perhaps you could put Star Saber in Commander Class, and then of course the other characters in either the Leader or the Voyager assortment. But once again, I really do believe that their main reasoning for putting Victory Saber as a Haslab exclusive was to really see if the fan demand was there for some of these more niche characters, when in comparison to the likes of Unicron, which of course almost every single Transformers collector knows about, and that guy truly is one of the biggest characters in the entire Transformers mythology. But overall, I'm definitely optimistic, really eager now to see some actual colorized images of this guy. I hope they come out sooner rather than later, and I'll definitely be really eager to see as to what the fan reaction is to this. I'd love to know down in the comment section below on whether or not you guys agree with some of my critiques. Do you guys think that they should just completely abolish all of those ugly joints that we've seen, the likes of the hands being exposed in the beast modes, as well as of course some of those hollow spacing? And do you guys also agree that they should have just been upfront and shown us some proper colorized CG renders? That's something that I personally believe, but of course I know that not everybody would agree with me. But I'd love to know down in the comment section below what you guys think. Will you be backing this character? Do you guys think that it's going to be as popular as Unicron? I know that with Unicron they actually struggled to reach that 8,000 backer. I believe that the deadline was in fact extended, and it's one of the first Haslab exclusives which had to have their deadline extended. So here with Victory Saber, a significantly cheaper price point, but of course a much greater number of backers actually required to put this guy into production. And that really was all we saw for this week's Transformers Fan First Friday. Sadly, no reveals from Kingdom, no Studio Series reveals, and no Transformers Legacy reveals. However, I'm pretty certain we'll see all of that and more when we do eventually get round to that Hasbro PulseCon, which I believe is set to take place in October. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Once again, I'd love to know your thoughts on this particular piece. Will you guys be backing it? And do you guys agree with some of my thoughts? I thank you all for watching, and until my next video, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.